Hi, you guys. Welcome to Coming in Hot with Caroline. I am so happy to have you guys here because we're going to have some fucking fun today. All right. Angie Lee is in the house. And if you guys don't follow Angie, you guys are living under a rock. First of all, she has her baby grandma's crew, okay, which I'm basically part of. I'm the old grandma. She has a tour. She has a podcast. Bottom line, as an incredible product. I love Soul. So you guys, we're going to dig deep. And we're going to be coming in hot with Angie Lee. So Angie, thank you for being here.
I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
Like, it's still so cool how I found you because my friend sent me your page and now you're like my favorite person, you know?
Oh my God.
I'm like, that's who I want to be one day. That's the cool mom I want to be.
That makes me so happy.
And so I love it because I feel like there's so many influencers my age, you know, or creators my age, but it's so cool to see somebody who's older doing it and showing like, hey, let me give you some real wisdom.
You know what, I appreciate that because truthfully, you get into this game and I think there's so many, which you understand, like you know, we talked a lot about, you know, having kids and becoming a mom and all of this stuff. And women do fall into this pattern of feeling like it's over.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to show that it doesn't have to maybe be the biggest, greatest thing, but there's still life. Like there's still life to be led. So we got to show that. But I love how you are so open. You are so honest. You're so authentic, which is what I'm attracted to. Like, I don't like all the bullshit, to be honest. I love that you show the nitty gritty. And I think you talk about the anxiety. You've talked about the depression. You've talked about starting a business and starting this, and you dropped out of college. I mean, you've been through it all and you're successful. And I think sometimes people are so dependent on the story that they've been told or given that it has to be a certain way, it has to look a certain way. And we've become successful the uncertain way. Like we've done it. We have not followed the path or the rules. Can you give us a allittle background on you and just really like, especially growing up in Alabama, small town, like give us a little background.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So funny. I always say, I think following the rules is like the worst thing you could do at this point now.
The worst.
Like fuck the rules. Right. So yeah, I actually grew up outside of Chicago in a small town. And I always knew that there was something a little different. I always knew I didn't want to go the traditional path of go to college, get good grades, and get a fancy job, marry an accountant, have kids by 25, and then you're done, right?
Which is the story.
Which is the story in the Midwest. Is that like
everyone tells you.
You have a job you hate, you have a husband you hate, you have your kids that you kind of hate, and then you die. And I was like, what? I'm like, I'm out.
Like it's we've normalized hating your entire life, your husband, your kids, everyone. So thank you for saying that.
And dress frumpy, right?
Yes.
Because in the Midwest, the women, like the minute you have a kid, you start dressing really frumpy, you get the minivan, and then you don't have sex ever again until you die.
Why is that? Can we just discuss one quick second? Why do we give up on ourselves the second we have kids?
You know, I don't know because I don't have them yet, but I'm thinking, you would know more than me in this area. I think it's because you're tired, right? You're tired and you think...
Forget tired. Exhausted.
Yeah. And you think, well, I already got the guy, so why would I need to keep trying? But in reality... Isn't that interesting that we do that and how sad that is that we do in a relationship where we should be trying.
Oh my God.
Trying.
Me and you talk about this. Like you got to keep your relationship going.
Yeah.
Because guess what? Your kids leave at 18 and you're stuck with him for the rest of your life.
I like the word stuck.
So you better like it.
I like that she used the word
He's
stuck.
not stuck with me.
John, she
I'm
loves
stuck
you.
with John. We love you. Okay, go ahead. Tell us a little bit.
Yeah. So I grew up college dropout. Within, a year or two of college, I asked the girl next to me, I was going for dietetics and nutrition. I thought, I'll be a nutritionist. And then I went for broadcast journalism for a bit. I thought I'd be on the news. Maybe I'd be the next Katie Couric. And I kept asking my counselors, how much do you make at these jobs? And how much do you work? And when they told me how much I was going to work and how much I was going to make, I was like, I'm out. This is a scam. Like, I'm not working 90 hours a week to make like 50 grand a year. You know what I mean? Like, get me out of here.
Like, I'm done.
So I kind of had this entrepreneurial bug. My dad was always an entrepreneur. And I remember I went into the counselor's office and I was like, I'm out, I'm done. And I started to see that these girls were starting blogs online and starting to create content, but I didn't really know how they were monetizing it. And this is in 2012. So it wasn't the hot thing to be an influencer, content creator,
this is
podcaster.
OG style, right? This is like first people starting
This
out.
is like maybe a few food influencers are making a few dollars here and there from their food blogs.
I did not grow up in the influencer age, right?
Yeah,
like I'm 52.
Yeah,
I went to college and I did like with none of, I'm lucky I had a phone. I think I got a computer in college. That's how fucking old I am. So really that's interesting that you kind of grew up and kind of came out of college in this era.
Yeah.
And it was like opportunity to be online, right?
Yeah.
It's like so different.
Because I was born in 90, so I always say I just missed it. I feel like I'm the perfect era where I didn't have social media in high school, so I didn't have all the like toxic girls comparing their bodies and themselves. And oh my God, if I have daughters one day, I don't know what I'm gonna do about social media. We'll figure that out. But I just missed it. So I had a nice, innocent, peaceful high school, and then college is when Facebook came out, and I was like, ooh, what's this, the Facebook thing?
Oh, you were in college.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I remember my roommate was like, dude, there's this thing called Facebook where you write a status about what you're doing. And I'd be like, going to the park. Hey, feeling happy today. Like, we didn't know what Facebook was when it came out, right?
Wow. So you were kind of like, okay, there's an opportunity to do something online.
Yeah.
Bottom line, like if you were kind of like,
Yeah.
I don't have to go the traditional way. Were you not a good student? Because I think
horrible student.
Because, you know, some kids have a hard time in school and then you kind of feel like you're stupid and that
Yeah.
there's no future for you. That is not true.
Oh, yeah. I always felt
Can
stupid.
you talk about you, like obviously
yeah.
having an issue and how did you propel yourself into starting your own business and believing in yourself and betting on yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I always knew I was neurodivergent. I was like, okay, I feel like I'm a little ADD. I'm super multi-passionate. I wasn't able to sit in class and listen as long as everybody else was. I'm like, what are we doing all day? Sitting in these classrooms for 8 hours, doing the same subject every day, like stick a pencil in my eyeball. Like, I don't want to do this, you know? And so, I dropped out, and that's when I started to post on Facebook and Instagram and then a little blog. And they were all new. I would post little workout tips or health and wellness tips for women. But again, this is like my mom, 3 of my friends, and maybe a client that I was doing personal training that were reading it.
Did your parents freak out?
A little bit.
Truthfully, yeah, because it's like, how do you? I mean, I have now kids, and you want to allow them to be who they are, but it's also a little tradition comes out
they
all the
weren't
time.
Sure, yeah, because at the time, this was still when they thought the safe thing to do was to get the degree. And then get a safe job. But my parents, thank God, were always very entrepreneurial, think outside the box. So I remember the moment when I called my mom when I left the counselor's office, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I just quit college and I'm $100,000 in debt for classes that I didn't go to because I'd be off working out or flirting with boys or creating content, right? I didn't go to class. Like, that was boring. So I had $100,000 in debt. I'm like 21, 22, and I called my mom. I'll always remember where I was standing in the elevator, and I'm going down the elevator and I'm crying and I'm so excited because I'm fucking free, right? I'm like, oh my God, I'm an adult now. Like, let's play the real game of life. And my mom just said, I'm not surprised. I've been waiting for this phone call forever. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, I've known since you were little that this was going to happen. She's like, Angie, like, this is you. And she was like, I don't know what you're going to do, but I just know you're going to figure it out. There's tons of different ways to make money, and go fly. Like, go fly. And so I'm really grateful that I was given a mom.
Let's all take lessons from that book.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of amazing.
I'm really grateful I was given a mom that was always like, I know that you're going to figure it out because you're creative. And you'll figure it out. So I worked random side jobs. I was doing personal training. I would go over to people's houses and clean out their pantries and do nutrition consulting and all of that while I was building the blog at night and creating content.
So you humbled yourself.
Yeah.
So I talk a lot about humbling. Like, you might have to work another job. You may to find your dream. You know, Gary Vee talks about this all the time. You may have to sleep on someone's couch. You may not have, you may not get to do all you have to, all you want, but you're building something. So you humbled yourself and you took jobs here and there because people think it's easy.
People think you just quit
easy.
overnight and you post some videos and then you get these brand deals and it's full time. No, the reality is, and I don't think it should be that way. I think you should like keep your part-time and or full-time job and then do this on the side, and then you can match the income and leave when you're ready. But I think to just switch overnight would be a lot of pressure and stress for people financially. So yeah, I hustled these random jobs, and then at night I would come home, and instead of going out and partying, I'd write on my blog and I'd create content, or I'd film little workouts, or I'd film little motivational clips for women. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. I was 22. I was just passionate to create stuff.
That's amazing.
And then I waited until I could just pay my rent in Chicago, some food, and then I quit those jobs, and then I just went all in, and I started hosting little events in the park for women, and it just started to grow. But I mean, those first few years weren't fun because it was.
Can you tell us what the biggest struggles were for us, like all entrepreneurs watching, all these moms at home, all these young women at home, truthfully, because we talk a lot about, earn some money, know where your money is, know how to take care of yourself. I love that you talk about that. Like, really, it is something that I was never told. Yeah. My mom was always like, marry well. Yeah. It was always about the husband is what signified your success.
He owns you. Yeah.
Literally. And I was like, well, what if he loses the job? What happens?
Or he dies.
Which is what
who
happens.
Knows?
Yes. So it is one of those things as what are the struggles? Because I think we need to be honest about how hard it is. Because I know I've been doing it 8 years now. People think it was overnight. So it is one of those, what are the struggles at the beginning when you are trying to start a small business at home? Because I know there's so many women out there that want to do this and have no idea how to start.
Yeah.
What do you
I think there's different struggles based on what season of life you're in, right? I did it when I was young, and I remember, and I'm so grateful for this past version of myself, because I remember being 22 to 24 saying, oh, when I'm old one day, when I'm 34, hey, that's now, I'm 34. Wow, that's scary that I thought this would be old.
Then. I mean, oh my God. Okay.
Like, my life is just starting. But I was like, oh, in 10 years when I'm old, I'm going to be grateful that I hustled and like put myself out there and embarrass myself. Cause then, you know, in 10 years, maybe I'll have a mortgage and all these kids that I'll have to worry about. And so I do think being realistic that I did this when I was young without children, and I'm grateful that I did. But I think when you do have children, it's a great motivation to like hustle and live your best life too. So there's pros and cons to every season of when you start entrepreneurship, right?
But when you're young though, somebody like you, and you're not out partying, when you said I didn't go out and party, like people think that you can just do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
and
no,
you just can't. Discipline is the key to success. Like, so you were kind of like,
I gave up a lot of a social life. I didn't really party at all. Yeah. And it's so funny now because Clay, my fiance, will joke around and go, is this now in your 30s when you kind of want to just like, let's go out late and have some wine, or let's go live it up? Because he's like, you didn't do that in your 20s. I did it opposite of a lot of people. I spent 22 to 30 just heads down, obsessed, creating content every day. I mean, I was a machine. I was just like, if I produce every day, I'll win, because it's consistency that wins. Yes, you have to be obviously interesting and somewhat creative, but honestly, at the end of the day, we know creatives who they're maybe not the most interesting, but they're winning because they're consistent.
100%.
And so I just did that. And then it wasn't until the last few years and I'm like, okay, now I want to integrate more of a work-life balance. But yeah, those first 5, 6, 7 years, it was like, I'm just going to commit to creating a piece of content every single day.
And that was it, right? Slow and steady.
Yeah, started steady. Small. And I wasn't afraid to embarrass myself. I think that's something that has really always been an advantage that I have. I think I deal with, like anyone, comparisonitis. I deal with fear of failure. I deal with all that we can go into. But the thing that I'm not afraid of is looking stupid. I'm not afraid to look stupid. If anything, I like looking stupid. I think it's the comedian in me. I'm like, let's do something weird. Let's be stupid. And I'm grateful I had that in me. I don't know if it's from parents or whatnot, but I always remember thinking, if one person shows up to my event, who cares? I'll do it again. If one girl buys my course, who cares? If one person's listening to the podcast in the beginning, who cares? Because that's how all of this starts, right? Every podcast starts with one listener.
It does, but I have to say that is the fear. And I have to say, and I love that you're saying that, because I think all of us fear someone not showing up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or so I remember like a first event that I was like, no one's coming to this. Like, there's no way. Like, you're kind of like, you are like, you just assume nobody would come or no one, but that's not a reason to give up, right? Because as long as you believe, people will come. And so when you started, really, was there one person?
There was 3. I remember my first event. So I was 22. I don't have all this money to put on this big extravagant event. The big events that women see that I did a few years ago, or the last, even a few months ago, my last one, those cost a lot of money to put on. I didn't have that at 22. So I would go to these yoga studios, and if they had a big open backyard, I would knock on the door and I would ask the owner, hey, I want to put on this event for women. It's this fitness and female empowerment event. Can you let me use your backyard? And in exchange, I'll give you some pizza, or I'll pay you like $50, or like I'll personal train your clients for free for a month. Like, I just was willing to do anything. And they were like, yeah, okay, that's fine. They were really cool and they were open to it. So in the beginning, I would just find random backyard space, get a little boom box, hire a DJ from Craigslist, and invite these women from my yoga class. Or I'd put literal physical flyers at the train stations in Chicago, and I'd be like, come to this women's event. And they were probably so corny, the flyer, and so embarrassing if I read them now. But I didn't know what I was doing. And then a girl would tell her friends, and then she told her friends, and then she told her friends. And yeah, the first one was probably like 3 to 5 girls. I had my little boom box, my little mic, and I was like, welcome. And I remember thinking, it's all about like putting in reps, just put in the reps, just like fitness, just keep putting in the reps. And one day you're going to look out and there's going to be so many more people. Just put in the reps. And there's actually beauty to starting small, because I would not want my first event to be thousands of people in front of me, because I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't ready to be the woman who could speak that well yet. Just like podcasting, you don't really want millions of people to listen to your first even 100 episodes,
right?
Because you're still figuring out your style and your cadence and your confidence. So I remember looking out, it was like my best friend Jazz, my mom, and like 3 other girls from yoga class who I invited, and they're like, who the fuck is this girl? I'm like, I don't know. And they were like, yay, we love this. And I remember I was like, I'm going to do it again. So I did it again and again. I just kept going, getting better, figuring it out, learning how to speak just by putting myself out there. And I practiced speaking then on social, on the podcast. And then years later had events with thousands of women. But it started in a park, literally in Chicago, with like a little boom box. And then the police would come and be like, what are you doing here? You didn't get a permit. I'd be like, gotta go.
Everybody out.
Everybody get out. I'm broke. And so, but that's where it starts, right? Like, nobody starts as Tony Robbins. Nobody starts as like this big whatever, insert in whatever your goal is. And everybody thinks you do. And I'm like, no, even Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, a lot of girls will say, oh, only 2 people are on. I'm like, that's actually good in the beginning, because you want to practice. You want to learn how
it's huge.
To get
even
better.
One person willing to listen. Right? I'm like, you know what? Give it your all to that one person. I always think of Taylor Swift. Oh, yeah. Right? If you think of Taylor Swift, she says when she performs every night, they're seeing it for the first time. She's performed it 500 times, but those people are seeing it for the first time. So you gotta bring it every time.
Gives me chills.
It's so true. And like what you see what she does, that joy she brings, And that is about just, you have to find joy in it.
Yeah,
you have to
love it as the artist, whatever the art is you're
Right?
doing, because same with you and your reels and your videos. When I watch them, why I love them is not just because, oh, that's a great tip, that's a great fashion tip. I can tell you're happy and you like it, and you would do it for nobody in your room by yourself. I'm like, oh, she's like looking cute, looking hot. Look at me, guys. Look at this bikini. I'm like, she would do this with a camcorder just in her room for fun. There's not like how we would do that when we were little girls. We would just like pose in the mirror and wear cute outfits. Yeah,
I'm pretending I'm a kid still.
It's your inner child. That's why I like it, because it's your inner child that is so happy to be there.
It really is. That's funny you say that, because it's so. The other day I did like 40 videos and sent them to Kayla, and she was like, I mean, she probably thought I was fucking insane. I was like, I'm on fire today. I mean, I love it.
That's what I've really learned. Honestly, I want to talk about this more moving forward on my content. Is what I've really realized is there's so much of this, especially for women. So much of my career was the proving energy, or I need to be successful and I got to make sure my event's better than somebody else's, or it was very like competitive proving because, I don't know, insert in daddy wounds, who knows, whatever, got to be successful to be worthy. But now it's like, what do I create? Because I actually just love it. And I love this. And then you're attracted to my magnetism because I love it. And I enjoy creating this content.
And you'll attract
that shift
people
is
who
huge.
love it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like sometimes we're attracting the wrong people because we're putting out that wrong energy that's not authentic to us. And then when you are really happy and you are really putting I feel like you attract that. Yeah. And then that's what surrounds you. And then it just kind of gets better and better. And I feel like that's where it just like ripple effect.
Well, it's like feminine magnetism, and think of Taylor Swift or insert any artist that you love. The reason why you like going to their concert is because you can see that they're happy up there and they're doing what they're meant to do. And it gives you chills because you're like, oh, she's living in her purpose.
And makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good. So I think that's huge. And yeah, I started with just a few girls, and
I think that's really so inspiring, honestly, because I think all of us, I think we all started, I think, that quote that we've all used a million times now, but Coca-Cola started, they sold 25 bottles in the first year.
No, I didn't know this.
One full year, just 25 bottles. So imagine they stopped making, it is one of those, you're like, they only sold 25.
And now they probably sold 25, a minute?
Like a minute.
Literally a minute, yeah.
So you're like, everything takes time. Like, stop rushing. Enjoy the process. Like, you're rushing to the end and there's nothing fucking happening at the end. So enjoy it.
That's what I'm working on. That I feel like you have, because you have more time on this planet than me, that I need to learn. But I think that's normal in your 30s. You all of a sudden freak out and think time's up. But it's like, no, I have time. Slow and steady.
Like, I always say, stop rushing to the end. Like, nothing's happening there. Yes. I'm like, just enjoy what you have. Can you tell us about baby grandmas?
Yeah.
First of all, because I'm a baby grandma, basically. I mean, I can't, when you guys get dressed up, you guys, you don't even understand what goes on. She's in a full grandma outfit. Where did this come from? What is this concept? How do you I think it's just your way of being fun and that childlike in you, right? Because I know dancing for you is, we'll talk about happy tools later, but
happy tools. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. The happy tools.
We're talking about that later.
The joy tools. It's so funny because we're going through the trademark right now. Actually, I've been like on calls with lawyers this week because we're really trying to like solidify the copyright, the trademark, all of it, because it's been around now for 14 years. So it started in college. My roommate would make fun of me because I didn't want to go out, and instead I was probably creating content in my dorm room like a loser, just like figuring out the internet. And she'd be like, let's go to this frat party and get drunk. There's hot guys there. And I'd be like, no, I think I'm going to stay in. And I always loved like going to bed early, drinking my little tea. Like I was just always a little grandma. And so she said, it's almost like you're a baby and a grandma mixed together. Like you're like a baby and a grandma. And I was like, yeah, I'm like baby grandma. And it became my nickname with all my girlfriends growing up. And so it's been around for a long time. And then once I built an audience, I started using it as a joke, and I started using the hashtag. And the next thing you know, it grew. And then at my events, girls would say, oh, I'm the baby grandmas. And we'd have the posters of the baby grandmas. One of my events, my event planner, she surprised me and hired real grandma actors and actresses to come on stage, and they like danced and were twerking. They were legit grandparents. But you're not a grandma yet.
She could have tried me.
These were like 80-year-olds, okay? And I was dying laughing, and it's genius when it comes to marketing to name your tribe. That's a very cool thing and important to do. It gives people a sense of identity. But that wasn't really the intention. It was just the funny name I called myself. And then I realized there were other women in their 20s and 30s who also have what I call JOMO, the joy of missing out. They want to stay in.
Love JOMO.
They don't want to go out and party. It's PJs over DJs. And so I came out with all these cute sayings and then a merchandise line. And now I have a whole merch line and everything.
Lift your tits. What is it? Get your tits
calm
up.
your tits.
My coffee cup says calm your tits, and it's just a bunch of boobs. It's hilarious.
I know. I was like, I'm sending her one. She's going to love this.
I love it. So it really just became a kind of way, it really was just obviously something that you called yourself, but it became a way of building community.
Yeah. Then it was so interesting. My fiance, then when we met a few years ago, it was so funny. He was like, that was one of those genius things you did, but you didn't realize it. It's kind of like Taylor Swift has the Swifties. Justin Bieber has the Beliebers. Like Lady Gaga has, what does she call them? The Little Monsters or something? You have your name for your community. And so I think it is important. That's like a little side branding tip. It is important to give your community a name that encompasses that you're in this together and there is something you guys all have in common. And I seem to attract women who also are like, yeah, I'd rather stay in on a Friday night and like read my smut books and like take a hot bath instead of like go out and go to some smelly club and be out till 2 p.m. You know, so I've always been like that, though. I don't know. I tell my mom, I'm like, what's wrong with me?
I hate Vegas. Like, I don't like all that stuff. Like, I really don't. Like, nothing good happens after midnight.
No, I'm like, give me a warm bath. Give me my smut book. I want to wake up feeling so refreshed.
Me too, like feeling good. I've like prioritized feeling good over feeling like the good time isn't worth feeling like shit the next day and worrying.
And beauty tip, you know, like you look different when you sleep well, right?
You look better when you drink water and sleep well.
I know. So I'm all about like, ladies, get some sleep. Don't go party once in a while.
Be a baby grandma.
Just be a baby grandma.
Okay, tell us about Soul. How did you start this incredible product line? Because of course it's CBD gummies, but it's also like, it's about curing brain fog. Honestly, it's like having some brain focus, getting some sleep. The out of office is amazing. But how did this branding start? How did you start working for your brother? And what I love is that every small business, I swear to God, starts in a fucking garage or in a bedroom. Like a lot of shit happens in the bedroom. People don't realize it gets hot in the bedroom. So you kind of started and you started with your brother. How did you get into business with your family and how did this start?
Yeah, my brother and I were living here in LA, 2016, end of 2016. And he was a professional athlete. He was a boxer. He was a top professional athlete. Ooh. Yeah. So he was like, you know, fighting at MGM Grand. Like Mike was a top boxer in the world. He was going through a lot of that. But the dark side of that is he was going through a lot of pain, his joint pain, brain fog, just like so much pain from that physical sport. And he got an autoimmune condition that was causing him to really like have flare-ups. And then I was just going through general PMS, anxiety. And he said, hey, have you tried CBD yet? And I was like, what is that? And I was like, is this THC? He's like, no, it's the medicinal part of the plant that won't get you high, but it has all of the benefits. And so I was like, all right, let's go for it. And I loved it. And he was using it as one of the tools to help his pain. And so one day we were kind of kidding around and we were in a juice shop and he was like, what if we started a business? Like, this is a great time to get into this. I expressed to him that I would love to come out with a physical wellness product. I was doing the events and courses and coaching and speaking, but I was like, I really want a physical product too. And he was like, let's do this. Like, why don't we try and just see what happens?
How the heck do you start that? How do you start that?
Literally Google and Mike calling a bunch of his friends who were in either finance or the cannabis space and just literally, like I say to everyone, literally asking people who are a few steps ahead of you. How are you doing this? What's the next step we should take? What's you know, I don't think you should ask people who are 10 years ahead of you, maybe just like 1 or 2 steps and say, hey, what's the first thing we should do? Okay, how do we set up the Shopify website? Okay, where do we get product? Okay, how do we go to these farms and find this organic CBD? And so we would get on planes and go to the farms and we literally started from day one. Oh yeah, finding the product and then we would get with the manufacturers and then we got the website and the branding done. And I remember the first order that came in that wasn't friends and family. And we were like, oh my God, somebody found it. Like, this is crazy. And of course, in full transparency, I had an audience at the time. So that did help, of course. I always say, if you're going to build product, audience first, product second. Audience first.
Always, right?
Product second. It's not as fun and sexy. I know everybody wants to come out with a fashion brand or a wellness brand or a beauty brand. Build at least a little bit of an audience, 1,000 true fans first, and then come out with something. So orders started coming in. We're like, okay, cool. Maybe this will be like a few $100,000 a year business, if that. And now it's blown up 7 years later. We're going to sell it. It's obviously a massive brand now. But at the time, we saw it as just like, let's help a few people. Let's just have it on your shop and kind of see if here and there people buy it.
Right.
And
but again, it's also going into it just for because you love it and because you really thought there was something to it.
Yeah, right? It was really helping us. And then we would get these reviews from people who said, oh my gosh, this is helping my anxiety, my sleep issues, my panic attacks, psoriasis,
oh my God, we all
period
need this.
cramps, just everything, right? Because the plant of CBD, what's really incredible about it is it basically gets your body to homeostasis and it brings down all inflammation. So wherever you're at, it kind of just like brings everything down, which is really cool.
That's really
I know,
cool.
It's a pretty fascinating plant. So God, universe, source, whatever you guys believe in, it's so cool that we were given this plant. And I think that we were given these plants to heal naturally.
Absolutely.
Right? And so again, there's a time and a place for Western medicine, but I'm a natural girly and I'm like, hey, if I can take a plant instead of a Midol, I'll do it. Less side effects, like let's go. And so I was super open to it. I was using it for my period cramps that were really painful.
That's I have the horror, because I have two bulging discs.
Oh shoot.
And I always have back pain. So I'm like, I'm going to take it 7 times a day.
Yeah, and our topical cream you can rub on your back.
You can. What's your hero
I'll
product?
Send you some of the cream. Our hero product now. So funny story, it was Sleepy, our sleep gummies, just crushed it. I mean, everybody and their grandma loved them, right? And then recently, out of office now has literally almost like surpassed it, because it's just people want the microdose. People really want that nice gentle blend of the THC CBD, which I didn't really anticipate, but we sold out like first day, and it was crazy because people want a little something more. It's the moms. It really is. It's the soccer moms who are buying from us. I'm not even kidding you. They love our shit.
You guys underestimate the fucking moms, okay? Yeah. We spend and we buy, especially the good shit, to take the edge off, okay? Yeah. Moms need help. Okay?
Yeah, like it's not these stoners living in their mom's basement playing video games, buying our stuff.
Mike, a lot of moms, first of all, I heard like a massive amount of moms are all microdosing at drop off.
Oh, yeah.
It's in their coffees.
The DMs I get every day are like, hey, Ange. And these are like highly educated, smart, amazing mothers who are taking a little bit of a microdose, which no shame. It's amazing. It's good for you. It's a plan. It's not like this isn't a drug, right? I mean, maybe they're also microdose drugs. I don't know what moms are doing out there.
There is no judgment here, everyone.
Maybe they're also snorting some Adderall. I don't know. But I don't judge them.
Listen,
that will be me when I have 8 kids. Who knows? But like, I think that, it's so cool to get these DMs because it's not like the old stigma of like, oh, it's a stoner. No, these are like, again, highly educated, awesome, very smart, successful people living their normal lives, have families and jobs, and they just want to feel a little bit more blissful.
Feel good
throughout their day. Yeah. And they'll say like at the end of the day when their kids are just like, it just kind of like brings it down.
It's just like, that's what it does for you. That's what soul does.
I call them the mom gummies now. I'm like, oh my God, the moms love it.
That is amazing. Yeah. The mom gummy. Okay.
Yeah, so it's been crazy. Again, and and a lot of times when you hear founder stories, it's always like, we started in my garage and then now we're an 8-figure brand. No, obviously there was ups and downs. I mean, I can remember exactly where my brother Mike and I were sitting one day in LA in Santa Monica, and he looked at me, he goes, I don't think we should do this anymore. I don't know if we can do it. Like, we're in the red. What do we do? Yep. And I remember looking at him saying, families first. Like, I love you first. So if we got to do that, like, I trust you, whatever we got to do. Like, you're handling the finances. I'm so proud of us that we even built this. So that's okay if we do need to move on to something else.
It's okay.
But we decided to push through.
Yep.
And who knew? But like, we were at one of our lowest points and then went up. And I mean, that's business and that's life.
But I feel like that's usually when things take off.
I know.
It's like
isn't
when
that
you
crazy?
really
I
have to level up. When you want to quit is usually when something happens.
I know. We had no idea. I'm like, gosh, if this is like 2019, our future self would have been like, no, just wait. It's going to get so good.
Right. But I feel like that's what tests you to see what you're made of. Yeah. And I think it tests you to see how badly you want it. And that's like when you're at your low and how you get back up and keep going. It says everything about you,
and physical products are hard. I'm going to be honest. Are they sexier or more fun? Maybe, yeah. Are they more scalable than a personal brand where maybe if you want to take time off or courses where you have to be on and trade your time for money, coaching or podcasting right now, this is obviously your time. You have to be here physically. But they take more capital to start. You got to get the resources. You got to or investors. Like it's a harder game a little bit, but it's so much more rewarding. And then you can sell it for way more than I'd be able to ever sell maybe something else.
Brand.
Yeah.
Right.
So pros and cons, because people always ask me, should I start a physical product? I'm like, I think first start a brand online and build the audience, get the email list, start a podcast, get that going, and then decide if you're really passionate about a product, then bring in a physical product.
That's great advice.
Right?
That is great advice.
Would you ever come out with a fashion product?
I mean, we have some jewelry, like these are mine.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I got a little earring going.
Cute. Okay.
But you know what I mean? It's hard. Yeah. It is hard. And
like
it
clothing,
is money.
I've heard is like one of the hardest.
It's so hard. All of it is hard. So I kind of want to do something that's like maybe not the typical or
like
normal.
A little different
or something that's not
like
necessarily
super niche though.
Super niche maybe. So we're thinking, and it's like we keep trying to because jewelry is the obvious.
Okay, yeah.
And clothes is the obvious, but it's also the most saturated and it's also the most competitive. So you're like, are you really doing that? I don't know. But I think it'd be really, what's fun to me is anything is possible. Mm-hmm. And that's what's fun. It's like to be 52 and feeling like you're just getting started and the figuring it all out is so fucking fun. Yeah. Like I'm so proud of us. You know what I mean? So
I could see you doing something very niche to women 45 and up. And I don't know what it is, but it's going to come to me like at 2 a.m. in the morning and then I'll text you. It's going to be something like super niche and cool to like exactly where you're at in your life.
And we need to discuss.
Yeah, all about like bringing this version of you back.
Yes.
Like you're not done yet.
Like a happy pill in some
You're not done yet. That's your tag.
You're fucking not done yet. Wait, but Angie, I want to ask you about your happy tools. Because my happy tools are gratitude, like taking those time in the sun, what helped me with anxiety, because I love that you talk about anxiety and you started this line because of your anxiety. Yeah. And for me, I think all of my stuff and all the coaching, and all the motivation came from the anxiety too, of figuring out ways to calm myself, calm my nervous system, kind of find your happy in the hard when things are not perfect, but like still figuring it out. So for me, it's always movement. It's always gratitude, face in the sun, getting dressed is my biggest, it always puts me in a good mood. What are your happy tools?
Oh, I love it. I think they change, right? There's always different ones. Like forever, it was fitness and movement. I don't know where I would be if I didn't have movement. I think movement is so key. And for so long, it was like, weightlifting and more like rigorous, intense exercise. And then I found dance about 2 years ago, and it's been so liberating, so fun. And it's really reminded me that play is truly the medicine for burnout. Like play and being in your body as a woman and just letting go and twerking your ass and just not caring is like, I actually argue can be more powerful sometimes than like meditation or breathwork or all these like serious modalities. At least for me, it's what works. And I was trying all the things and I was like, I don't feel like I found my thing yet that really helps me to come back home to who I am and my joy. And then I found this hip hop class by accident. And it changed my life. Amazing. I left and I got in the car and I was like, holy shit, I feel alive again.
Really?
Yeah, you got to try a hip hop class.
Wait,
even if you suck, it doesn't matter.
You kept trying different things. So you weren't giving up. You were like, this isn't the thing that's like, I don't feel alive. Like, I think that's a way of saying it. Like you should be walking out, whatever your happy tools. It's like, it should just bring you back to a good, positive headspace, whatever that is. So dance for you, come out of that class, you're unstoppable.
Oh, I'm unstoppable. And it's crazy because then I think a lot of times what brings us that joy is things that we did when we were younger, but we somehow forgot about them, or we think, I'm too old now to do them. And so I text
I'm married
my mom,
and I had a kid.
Yeah, or I don't have time, or who am I to still paint, or who am I to still dance or sing or whatever it might be. And so I texted my mom and I was like, what did I really love doing when I was little? And she had no idea why I was texting her this. She's like, why are you asking me this? I'm like, just tell me, like, list a few things right now. She's like, well, man, I mean, I have thousands of home videos of you just dancing for hours in the living room. And I was like, wow, I don't even remember this really. I'm like, holy shit, this was a huge part of my life as a child, was expressing myself in dancing and being the performer. And so no wonder when I went into the class, I was feeling alive again, because I was reconnecting with little Angie, who was like, wait, we used to love to do this. And for some reason, you just haven't done this. You've done running and weightlifting and, I was an athlete and all like the serious, intense exercise. But when's the last time you just like
had fun,
put on music and just had fun? And so, yeah, one of my biggest goals is just to really help women who are going through burnout and to heal it through play. Because I think a lot of times we think, okay, burnout, go get a massage and make a longer to-do list of all the things you have to do to heal from burnout. And now you feel like you just have a more, like, now you feel like you have an even longer to-do list.
And less time.
And I think actually sometimes the answer to burnout is it's play. It's fun. It's having fucking fun in your life again, whatever that is for you, right? Like if there wasn't fun, what would we do?
Well, I think we forget to have fun.
We'd all be so
genuinely,
serious.
I think, especially when and I know, because I know you guys are trying to have kids and stuff, and it is like, it really, there is a dynamic that changes. There is, because there is so much responsibility and so much stress, and all of a sudden the financials come to play, which I think is the biggest marriage killer, is always the financials and you keeping going, and how do you keep all your, and like now the baby, and it's like, I think that's where it is. But I think couples forget to have fun. You stop having fun. And I think you as a woman, as a mom, stop having fun. And everything's about the kid, everything's about your husband, and you forget about you. And like, what did you love to do when you're like, how did you look? How did you feel? That's why I always say, it's like, you don't have to reinvent yourself. It's like, just tap fucking back in. What did you love to do? And it's exactly that. Like, you felt alive again because you were doing something you fucking loved. And we've stopped doing things for ourselves, right? Oxygen mask on first on a plane.
That's what I've been saying a lot lately is bring her back. Like, bring her back. That version of you
always
that loved to be silly and not take life so seriously and did dance in her room or put on a bunch of jewelry in her room. Like, what do little girls do when we're in our happiest, most carefree state? We put on lipstick, we do our hair,
makeup,
we
dress
put on a little funny, cute little summer dress. When you're like 10 years old, you start dancing around with your girlfriends. I mean, if we can even infuse just a little bit of those days when we were so carefree, I think that's how we keep our bodies healthy, right? On a scientific level, this is good for dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, all of those things. But on a spiritual level, I don't think we're meant to be here and do really serious, heavy childhood wound healing all the time and then die. Yes, there's a time and place for therapy and those serious things. But if that's all you're doing, I think you start to become exhausted and wonder why you just still don't feel good. And I have so many friends.
You can burn out from that.
You can burn out from healing. Yeah, there's a whole thing now where my friends will be like, dude, I went to therapy for 5 years every day, 2 days a week, and I feel worse and da-da-da. And it's like, there's almost a tipping point. I think everything is about the balance of like, okay, you need some of that, but then where are you not balancing it out with levity? Because if you're only doing heavy, deep processing of your childhood wounds all the time and not just looking back and just laughing at this whole experience called life. That's so
100%.
silly and funny. Like, what are we doing here? We're on a ball.
It's like
in
where you
space.
don't take yourself too seriously. Go hang out with a friend that makes you laugh. That you just know makes you laugh.
Yeah.
Or like go to, it's like not taking yourself so seriously. And it's like, have fucking fun. Rip the
Right?
towel off.
Yeah.
Put the cute outfit on.
Yeah.
Put the hoops on.
Yeah.
Like, stop making it so complicated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, think about it. When you think of like from the meta, like bird's eye view, sometimes I'll just do this if I'm really like in a sad or frustrated situation. We're literally these little cucumbers, because we're made of mostly water, hanging out on this blue ball in space. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean?
idea.
And when you think about that, you're like, oh, my stress today, my little issue, come on, it's no big deal compared to this
In the grand scheme of
of life and what's really going on here on this planet that we're living on. These little beings running around having issues and anxiety. Like, whoever created us is looking down and is just like, that's funny. Oh, you guys have
like,
anxiety.
you poor little fuckers.
Yeah. Oh, you guys have traffic down there. That's funny. And you're stressed about traffic. So sometimes I'll do that to myself just to zap myself out of it and be like, Angie, your future you is not going to be stressed about this.
Right. Is that a happy tool? Like, do you talk to yourself?
I
Some
do. I
positive
think of like
self-talk?
70-year-old Angie who I want to look back and be like, you had so much fun. Like that's what I would love to bring to this world and know that I left with. Like, my legacy, I guess you could say, is it's so much deeper that I don't care about money or success or that as much. I'm like, I want to know that I reminded people to have fun and be silly and just not take this whole experience seriously, because you'll notice when you don't, things work out better too.
Yeah.
Business, everything works better when you're loose and you're not overthinking it and you're not like tight and stressed. And
Well, it's
so
like you meet the guy when you're not obsessed with him, or you're not
Right?
obsessing on
I
meeting the
know.
guy, right?
Yeah,
It's just
you're
like
not like-
everything when you're not obsessed and you actually, are taking care of yourself and worrying about
Yes.
more important things, and things just work out.
I know.
It's incredible.
And I hope that like when I'm, in my 50s, I want to look back at my 30s and know that like I enjoyed this time and not stressed this time.
Yeah.
Right. But it's so hard when you're in it, because you're like, whatever, I'll worry about that later. But it's like, I want to look back and know, like, I want to
You
ask women
enjoyed it.
50 and up, what do you wish you would have done it in your 30s? How do you wish you would have felt? Because, and that's where I get the wisdom. So
And the truth is, if I was going to answer that,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't stress as much.
really? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wish I wasn't like obsessed with the timing of things. Like, I think the time, and you always feel like there's not enough time. Meanwhile, I'm 52 now, and I'm like, I'm hoping there's another 50 years.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, like, what the fuck was
You
I
might
worried
literally
about at
have another
30?
50
You know what I'm saying? That's what's so crazy. So it's like, why it is that stress of time. And it's like, guys, just worry about today. Enjoy today. Like, I can honestly tell you that.
Yeah.
It's like amazing how much time we waste worrying instead of having fun.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. So Ange, tell me really quick, how do you get up and get dressed every day? What are your happy tools that turn into getting up and getting dressed?
Yeah,
What do
I
you
love
do?
this. Well, before finding you, I didn't even know this was like really a thing, right? I was just like, oh, you just kind of wake up and you don't get dressed. And then I saw you and I was like, well,
What?
I need to stop being a frumpy frump. And so for me, I love sun, like sun right away when I wake up. I think that changes your hormones, your biochemistry, everything. So I get direct sunlight immediately to get me into that good mood, makes me feel happy, makes me feel excited for the day. And then I'll hydrate, and then I'll usually maybe like, ice roll my face, do some weird gua sha, that kind of stuff. Maybe I'll do that outside.
Yeah.
And then, I try to put on, now I'm making an effort to put on, if I'm going to go work out or go on a walk right away to get movement, I try to put on a cute outfit now when I go on my walks, even though nobody's watching me on my walks other than Deborah down the street, right? Like, Deborah doesn't care. But I used to dress really frumpy on
Hi,
my
Deborah.
walks. Hey, Debbie. I used to dress really frumpy, and now I'm like, wait, I'm young. I still have a cute body. Like, what am I doing? And even if I didn't, what am I doing?
Who cares?
So, like,
Wear what you love, right?
I'm like, WWCD. Like, what Caroline do?
That's
She'd
my
be
favorite
pissed
line.
right now.
What would I'd be fucking pissed if I
wear-
saw you in a shitty outfit. I'd be like, Ange, get your shit together. Honestly. But don't you feel better when
Wait,
you get
can
dressed
you
and look
please
cute?
make those that's actually a genius branding idea. If you made little WWCD bracelets, it's so cute and gitchy and funny. And then what you could do is like girls could like you can send them to people, or girls can buy them on your site. And then the joke is like,
Kayla, get on it.
Yeah,
I'm
when you
kidding.
wake up, I would wear it and I would look down and be like, oh my gosh, if she had a little camera right now, she'd be like, Andrew, what are you wearing? Like, come
But
on.
it's true. So many people DM
Yeah.
me saying, I hear your voice in my head going,
so-
get up, get dressed.
Yeah, you
or
almost
something.
need like
It's
like double
hilarious.
down on that with your audience. They're telling you that like they think about you in that moment. So we gotta create some product or thing that they can then literally
Something
think
in
about
the
you when they
morning.
look down. Or
Because
like,
it will also say like, what would Caroline do? What would Caroline wear? And it
Yes.
makes me laugh so hard. Because
Okay,
I'm like,
what
oh
would
my
Caroline
God, my
wear?
voice screaming at them.
WWCW. Yes. What would
Okay,
Caroline
how
wear?
can everybody find you? How can they find your
Yeah.
products, your podcast,
Yes.
your soul, your shows? What's coming up next? Like, give us all information.
Yes, come check me out if you're listening to obviously a podcast right now. Come listen to the Angie Lee show. It's super fun. It's super silly. Goofy girl chat. Getsoul.com to check out all the soul products, sleep, anxiety, pain, PMS, hormones, I got you.
Trust me. Check it out.
It's so good. Getsoul.com and then at Angie Lee Show on Instagram if you want to fart around and see some weird shit.
Are you doing any live shows soon?
I think I might do another one. Yeah, I called my last one the girls' bathroom 2 months ago. And so I might do another one where it's just basically a dance party and then a live podcast where it's just like real girl chat.
That's amazing. Should
Yeah.
I pop out of a cake?
Oh my God, you should come. That'd be so fun.
Right? Like in a
Yeah.
bikini. One of my Amazon bikinis.
Like a lime green bikini. What's up, bitches?
What's up, baby grandmas?
Yeah, what's up, baby grandmas? Yeah.
Old grandmas,
Oh my gosh.
to show you the way.
Oh my God. Well, once you're a real grandma, then you'll be a legit baby grandma.
I mean, I got this.
But like you got time.
I got you. Ange, I love you.
Aw,
thank you for coming
thank you so
in.
much.
Thank you for hanging with us. I love you. I love following you. I love how real you are. And I just love that you're showing that it doesn't matter what age you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your path is. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be one way or another way.
Yeah.
You're doing it your way.
So
and you're
fun.
doing it with whatever it makes you happy. So we love you. Congratulations on all your success. We're so thrilled. You guys, I love you all. Please like, subscribe, leave a review, a really kind one, please. We love you. And we're going to be coming in hot next week. Check out Angie Lee, of course. And we'll see you soon. Have a great day. Mwah! Bye.